Cool. We're live. Good night, Mr. Wade. Uh, you're the chairman for tonight, sir, and I'd just like to turn it over to you directly.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard.
You're welcome, sir.
It's always a pleasure to sit in your company,
Well, the pleasure is mine,
and
as you know.
and there's a lot going on, and hopefully we'll be joined shortly by our next panelist, Mr. Gregory Brackett.
Yes, sir.
Um, Always in the background queuing up something because we always show and tell from their own lips, not what we concoct or
Wish.
you know say things that they do not say. So it's always a pleasure to sit here by the grace of God that we have the will, the energy, and the gift of life
Amen.
to sit here and speak on issues and advocate on behalf of our Belizean people
I'm going through it. Yes, sir.
and say right and do right. And on that note, we always start with a prayer and then a reading. And hopefully, Leonard, our program tonight will shed some light and give some closure or give some doubts, those who have doubts, about certain things. And so we could educate the public a little bit in real time. So, on that note, Leonard, I would humbly ask you to lead us in a prayer, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'll just bow my head and say a short prayer. Divine loving Father, thou who art the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them are, into thy hands we commend ourselves once more, asking thee that thou mayest continue to guide and protect and bless us, honor our hearts, our desires, and even our most secret thoughts, loving Father. We pray that thou mayest grant us wisdom, knowledge, understanding, endurance, perseverance, fortitude, the strength with which to speak truth to power when need be, as might be the case of tonight's program. We pray that our program accrues to some public benefit, positive public benefit for our people, Belizeans at home and abroad, as well as to others in the human race. Loving Father, we pray that thou mayest bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership. We pray that thou mayest bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership as well, and the rest of humanity. That thou mayest bless all those who have need of food, clothes, shelter, and other daily necessities, material necessities, loving Father. We pray also for those who are in harm's way, who are being killed gratuitously sometimes for no justifiable reason. We pray that thou mayest have mercy upon their soul, upon those who get injured, those who get dispossessed of their home, their lands, and other material sustenance. Please be merciful upon them as well. And when thou comest, please grant us the privilege to be with thee in thy kingdom for lasting mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard, for that prayer.
You're welcome, Sir Chairman.
And I will go into our reading for tonight. I'll continue on Ecclesiastes chapter 5, 10 to 20. He he who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves wealth with his income. This also is vanity. When goods increases, they increase who eats them, and what advantage has their owner but to see them with his eyes. Sweet is the sleep of a laborer, whether he eats little or much. But the full stomach of the rich will not let him sleep. There is a grievous ill that I have seen under the sun. Riches were kept by their owner in his hut, and those riches were lost in a bad venture. And he has father a son, but he has nothing in his hand. As he come from his mother's womb, he shall go again, naked as he came, and naked takes nothing, and shall take nothing for his toil, that he may carry away in his hand. This also is a grievous evil. Just as he came, so shall he go. And what again is there to him who toils for the wind? Moreover, all his days he eats in darkness, in much vexation and sickness and anger. Behold, what I have seen to be good and fitting is to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the toil with which one toils under the sun, the few days of his life that God has given him, for this is his lot. Everyone also to whom God has given wealth and possession and power to enjoy them and to accept his lot and rejoice in his toil. This is a gift of God. For he will not much remember the days of his life because God kept him occupied with joy in his heart. That's my reading from Ecclesiastes chapter 5, 10 to 20. Uh, Leonard, there's a lot going on. Um, I want, again, before I get started, I want to welcome the next senior panelist, Mr. Gregory Brackett. Welcome, my brother. Glad to
Thank
be in
you.
your presence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good night to the people at home and abroad. I thank you for tuning in to this 199th episode of the Belizean Affairs, bringing to you important issues that is happening in the country. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Before I go to you, Greg, to show and tell, I would like to utter these few words. My people, let us not forget that we are still in the hurricane season. And again, we have a near miss again, right? The hurricane just shunned this little country of Belize and headed north, doing some damage. The storm doing some damage in the Mexican towns and projected to make landfall sometime tomorrow by Thursday, um, in the Tallahassee area and the Florida coast, along the Florida coast. So we extend our prayers for those who have been affected, and we pray for those that will be affected, that they get minimal damage and picks up the pieces. It's like, it's a never-ending saga. The Florida Golf Course and the Texas course in those areas there have been pounded lately by storms, hurricanes, you know, um, and thank God that we here in Belizeans in Belize, could breathe sigh of relief, because man, two or three near misses. So we need to take heed. And another sober reminder to our people, that we have too much accidents, fatalities on our highways. I keep emphasizing, I keep stressing, for those who uses the highway, to use it responsibly and think about others on the highways, and don't drink and drive, and especially those two wheelers, those motorcycles. The little mistake, and you are gone. No, you have nothing to shield you. So be mindful when you guys get on these two-wheel cycles, right? These motorcycles. A lot of fatalities, and my condolences to the family who had lost their loved ones by these terrible accidents, guys, fatalities on a daily basis. You know, be mindful again using the highways, and our people, please, we advocate for you. We are tired of the way our leaders running the country, the things that they do for their own personal gain, and the things that they are not doing in terms of looking out for the people, for the poor and less fortunate, for the taxpayers. All they do, they keep abusing the taxpayers' money, and the country's assets, the people's assets. And sadly, born Belizeans having a hard time accessing, the things that they should, be getting easily. Like, for instance, a piece of land. We see time and time, and for decades now, the problem they're having to get a little house lot. And you see the abuse of the people's asset by our leaders, and repetitiously, right? They use it, they give away our lands. They collect the wealth, and they do not put the wealth that they collect where it should go. No, they use it for their own personal, right? And they use our assets for their own personal gain, for political mileage. for favors. So all I'm saying is that we are tired of that, and we are asking the government to please. Thank you, Leonard. It's always a pleasure to sit in your company and having a feedback there. Somebody have something on there. I think it's you, Leonard. Yeah, yeah, and lower your volume on that one. That's
Mr. Wade?
yeah. Yes. Mr. Gregory Brackett. Always in the background. You want to cut off one of them there, Leonard, because
Uh,
it's delayed or something.
yes, sir. I'm having a little problem here with it.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was
So,
attempting to do. I'm, Mr. Wade,
yes, sir.
um, we had a notice from, we had a notice saying we had a notice from StreamYard.
Uh huh.
Mr. Wade,
Yes, I'm hearing.
uh, yes, we have a notice from StreamYard telling us that they're having a problem with Facebook. So I'm trying to see if I can resolve that in the meantime. But it's not
Okay.
working out.
So we'll wait on that. Hey, Greg, what you take on that? Because it's repeating what I have said previously. It's playing back again. So there, you
I'm listening to what you were saying, Mr. Chairman. For
Gregory,
some reason, there's a feedback going on both on the phone and on StreamYard. I'm
yes,
kind of being careful as
yes,
to how I use my phone
exactly,
because there's a feedback that normally a phone don't have. So
yes.
yeah, there's a
looking at
problem with
that.
the.
So what you suggest, Greg, Leonard? What you suggest we?
I'm working in the background trying to see if I can resolve something here, but it's not what I'm doing is
It's
not
not
working
working.
correctly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get. I have a direct feed to StreamYard, and they're telling me that they have a problem with Facebook, and they're trying to work on it. But I should attempt to do what I can on my side, and if it doesn't work, then I should try and relaunch the whole program. And I
Okay.
don't know if I really want to go that far, so I'm tinkering around a little bit to see if I
Yes.
can avoid having to do that. Otherwise, we'll just maybe
I
cut
cancel.
and relaunch. Just relaunch again.
Okay, let's do that then.
Because I'm not too sure if I'll be successful, and I don't want to waste
Right,
the
right,
time.
Greg. You think we should do that, Greg?
I'll just relaunch and send you guys a new code, no?
Okay, good.
Okay. Just hold for a second. Let me try and work that out then. In the meantime. Okay, so let's do this quickly. First things first.
Do you want to end the live stream?
Yes, I think
Yeah,
I
that's what
think
I'm
you
about
need
to
to.
do. That's what I'm
Yes.
about to do, so I could relaunch again. In the interest of time, because no sense
Yes.
thinking. They sent me the message saying that they are having a problem with Facebook,
It is a
and if
there
they
is
are
a
having a
problem.
problem with
Yeah.
Facebook, then there's not
Yeah.
much we
End
can
end the
do.
program then, Leonard. End the program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm about to
Yeah.
do right now. Okay, we're still live right now. Uh,
Do you want me to end it from mine?
Yes, Greg.
no, not yet, Greg, not yet. Hold on, give me a second here, please. Um,
I saw the message. I read what it was saying,
we're still live
but
right now, okay?
We're still live. Yeah.
So we're still salvaging whatever is going on around the direct broadcast to the public. We're still live, and the show is still up. I don't know if
my
we
thing
should.
would be let's continue the program and
As
then
is.
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay. Quickly, for housekeeping purpose, we may not be able to get it broadcast live the normal way we do it, right? But if we're getting any kind of transmission as we're currently doing I think we should live with it like we're concluding on, and just continue to show as if nothing else is happening negative, right?
Yes, yes, guys,
Okay, Mr. Chairman, back to you,
that's
sir.
good. There's a lot going on in our country. We see the celebration, the 10th of September celebration, or the 21st celebration. You know, it's always something. We have people going to these celebration with bad intent, not to celebrate. We see that lately, the aggression by Guatemala, right? And no one seems to care. We see the state of the nation address, right? We listen to the prime minister. Um, like I say, who believe this guy? Only his fanatics believes him, because he rumbled like everything is fine and dandy, and Belizeans are living a good life, and which in the entirety, a lot of Belizean out, outside the realm is punishing, right? Things really is bad in this country, right? Um, it's so sad to see how we have so much poverty, right? With all the uh, all the money that past and present government gets to alleviate or to help on poverty, and nothing seems to change, right? Where does the money go, right? We see the grants that they get to do things for the people, to 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 help people electricify their to help them with the electricity, to make lives better, and it doesn't seem to be working, right? We see a government, how they abuse the constitution of this country, no respect for law and order, no respect for the courts, right? We see, you know, how they want to bastardize our constitution, right? We see how they do not want to do the redistricting, right? Something that needs to be done, so that we here in the country and Belizeans, the voting populace, right? We all have equal representation that we do not have for decades now, right? Our redistricting is due for going for 15 years now, right? Past government didn't care, and this one worse. No care to they don't want to let go of power, right? Some of these ministers and these representatives who only have a couple of hundred people, a few hundred people, you see the amount of power that these people have, right? And they totally disrespecting the other the other people, the other Belizeans who do not have the other constitution constituency, that do not have equal representation, right? They do not care, and they are happy with the few hundred people that they have in their constituency, that give them that amount of power in this country. So they don't want to do redistricting, because if they do, a couple of them will have to give up power, right? Because of the little small little constituents that they have, the little small little amount of voters that they have. They don't want to give that up, and they have no shame. They think they are doing wonders, right? They think that they should not give up power. Man, come on. It is wrong what you guys are doing. It's unconstitutional, right? And to hold another election that is unconstitutional, come on. You already hold two elections that is not germane with the constitution of this country, right? But yet, who bring on guys to test? Who hold on accountable, right? The ones, the private citizens are trying to hold on accountable. These are the same people who they beat them down on the courts, and using, like I say again, using the same taxpayers' money, using the poor people money to fight the poor people, right? Come on. And no, no got no shame, right? But like I say, there's a lot going on, and I know that Greg have some stuff that he want to bring up, and so that we have a discussion on it. So I pass it over to you, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the people at home and abroad. Again, and welcome to Belizean Affair. As we said time and time over again, we show and tell Mr. Chairman, you were talking about we're in hurricane season, and let's not take it lightly. It's passing us to the left and to the right. What a blessing. But I want to say that when Lisa came and all the monies that was given to the government for people to restructure, and you hear them speak about it, Mr. Chairman, you personally had some words to say about what is happening, and some of the people who was getting nothing to restructure their buildings. But I want to show the people at home and abroad what happens when you have a government in denial who always speak about for the people, and there is nothing trickling down to the people. But every time they go with their hands out, they are using the people as an excuse. Mr. Chairman, here is the tape and listen to it.
These school books on the ground belong to an 11-year-old girl who has had to miss the last 3 days of school after her home collapsed. The girl and her mother lived here on Faba's Road Extension, in a house that stood on stilts. But in 2022, the structure began leaning, and on Tuesday night, it finally fell.
We were watching TV on my bed in my room at the back, and then we heard some noise like hurricane or, a big noise. And after that, I feel the bed starting to fall, but it fell quick. And after that, when we landed, we were totally buried. Totally buried. I didn't know which way we could come out, but some neighbors came because they heard the noise. It was a big noise. And they broke the window to the side, and so we crawl out. I sent out my daughter first, and then I come out, and then my friend come out.
You've had this home for a while. You said it belonged to your mom. At what point did it start leaning?
When Hurricane Lisa came, it leaned a lot because that shook it. It shook it, and it started to lean over the side. The posts started to lean.
Mr. Chairman, I will end the video right there. When Hurricane Lisa came. So where was the help from all the monies that were donated that could have helped this single parent? I turn it back to you, sir.
Leonard?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And Greg, I'll piggyback on you by saying that Lisa happened almost 2 years ago, if I'm correct. Just a few days half of 2 years ago. I think it was November something. Some I don't want to call the exact date because I don't recall the precise date. It was probably somewhere early November, very very early November. And still, as you have said many times on our program before, Mr. Chairman, you can take some of these ministers and show them where people who have been affected have not gotten any support or help. Yet they dare to say everybody that needed help got help. Money came in from all over the place to help the Belizean people. And some of those monies went to the wrong places, got expended in the wrong places, and money that the government was supposed to apply to certain help for the public went to preferred people that didn't got no damage and didn't need no help. When now, specifically as Mr. Brackett, Gregory just played, you see another victim of the same Lisa hurricane that did not get no help until to the point where recently now the whole house came down with them inside there. I don't know. Maybe I'm
So,
thinking different than average Belizeans, that this kind of craziness shouldn't be happening in our country. But yet it happens, and people applaud it and say, yes, que viva PUP. Let's stay on track while people are suffering in massive ways. But, Mr. Chairman, I have more to say. I'd just like to yield back because
thank
I got a
you.
sense that you wanted to make a comment just now.
Yes, Leonard, right? Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you,
sir.
Greg, for reminding the people and showing because it is what it is. We are in hurricane season.
Mm.
Same like last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. And we will be in it again the year after this. You will not go away. And like you rightfully said, Leonard, where is the resources and where did it go? Who gets them? And it's a repetitious cycle. Poor people, just because they're not a supporter of the then UDP, they get left behind. And now just because they are not a supporter of the now PUP, they get nothing. And then every time, guys, they come to the house and they come publicly and that word, Leonard and Greg, everybody get help. Huh? So who speaks on these things? Channel 7, Channel 5, Love I mean, who speaks on these things, man? These ills, these injustice, and repetitiously. Then you hear the Prime Minister, Johnny Briceño, again on that eloquent speech, guys, right? See, these things have to ravel your brain because, these guys take everybody for fool. See, which what I'm trying to say is not everybody the fool, right? They're not everybody the fanatics. They're not everybody the fanatics and no UDP or PUP, right? We have people that are independent thinkers, have their own mind, have their own thinking, right? We do not subscribe to that kind of foolishness. That's why we talk about it. All the money this man talk about, all the good things he talk about, right? For what? For an audience out there and for little school children back and they listen. They say, oh yeah, good prime. See these kids, they don't know. This is a crime that should be a crime. Lying to the nation. That should be a crime. Lying to the juveniles, lying to the kids behind him. He know damn well that he's uttering venom. He know damn well that he's uttering lies. But yet he still does it. And his minion in front of him claps. His, these are they clap that yes, we got a strong prime minister and he's a good man and he help the people listen to all the nice thing where he say. Huh? Mr. Man, you know, these things worth talking about because, people punish, people need, and they get all the things to help people, but yet they squander it elsewhere. All the money to do on project, guys, right? All the money lately, I could go on millions, billions. Who gets this money? Where is the show and tell? How much goes to those projects? What percentage goes to those projects? And what percentage goes to consultation and goes to movement? And yet, I want to draw this to the attention of the public and the world, right? The 70% that they pocket, that is unaccounted for, and the same people that they say that get this money, these people are already being paid by the taxpayers. They are workers of the government that hold these workshops, and lots of money goes to these workshops, right? Lots of money goes, the same money that was supposed to go to a project, they take 70, 80%, and they say, they educate the people in a workshop, right? And these people are already being paid by the taxpayers of this country. The ministers, the prime, all of them already been paid. So where is that money? Huh? And it's a repetitious cycle. And yet, in the country of Belize, there is not a well-built hurricane shelter. While we're on that, there is not. What they do, past and present government, they uses, they uses, they uses the already community centers, does not have a bathroom, don't have windows, don't have doors, and they use in schools, right, with poor facilities, and those are hurricane shelters that these people venomously expresses publicly that these are the shelters that we have,
Mr.
right?
Chairman,
For but those of us who knows better,
Mr.
go
Chairman,
ahead, Leonard.
you forgot to mention about the hurricane shelters, them that are schools that don't have any roof on them currently, that they're proposing to have these people go and take refuge at those locations. How crazy is that? You know, in addition to what you had said just now, I was just trying to point that out. I mean, how cynical these people are. Are you back, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, so true on that, like I say, and the thing is, my people, they have no shame. That's the thing. They have no shame. And you know, no accountability. Because Greg, like you said, a lot of these money come to better these places, to build hurricane shelters. But what we got? We got nothing. Nothing at all. But yet they say that we have. So like I say, what they do, they continue to use our community centers in the villages and the schools in the towns, right? That's hurricane shelters in Belize. So sad. Back to you, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Keep at home and abroad, you heard the State of the Nation address. Uh, Wonderful and marvelous speech from the Prime Minister. But I want to show you the people again as we show and tell what the Prime Minister had to say in the House on a previous occasion. Because what the chairman is speaking about and asking about where certain funds are going. And in reality, we don't know what they're doing with funds when they use some of it, where the rest go to. Let's listen to his speech.
We said we don't need to spend more than $110 million to a road to Caracol. The road to Caracol is important, of course it is, because for the tourism that we're trying to grow in the Cairo district. But we don't need to invest 110 million. The honorable member, the Minister for Infrastructure Development and Housing, sat down with the Kuwaitis and said, listen, this is way too much money, we can't afford to spend so much money. And they helped to redesign it, and we saved $25 billion US. That's what we did. We saved $25 billion US. That's what I talk about, borrowing, my brother, borrowing with a vision. Look at the Halover Bridge. How many times did we vote for money for the Halover Bridge? About 2 or 3 times in this honorable house. And they never did build it. When we got into the honorable member from infrastructure development, when he looked at the plans and he said, listen, we're over designing this bridge. We don't need such a big bridge for CDB. And he sat down with Belizean engineers and came up with a different design. A design that's going to be here for decades. And he went back to the CDB. At that CDB, we don't need 60 million. We need 30. We're saving $25 million for this country. And CDB said, well, no, we are not. You have to spend $60 million. And we tell CDB, take your money. Because we are not going to spend 60 million when you only need to spend 30 million. This government saved another $25 million for the people of this country. This is, my brother, this is when you have people that when...
Mr. Chairman, I'm calling this out to show the people at home and abroad. The speech the Prime Minister is giving. Belizean engineers installed the pumping station, a waste of 11 million plus. When King Tide came, they couldn't even pump it up. The whole of Belize was flooded. Now imagine, Belizean engineers was the ones who worked on it also like the bridge. And I'm saying this to say, they are preaching about climate change. Belize is below sea level. Why would you install pumps and floodgates when you know when the tide raises like in peak tide, it will rise above the street, above the pumping station. So then what you can do? Nothing, just a waste of taxpayers' money. We are talking about Belizean engineer. Let's have a reality check on the coastal highway and what happened when the rain came. Belizean engineer, and we can go on. The Halover Bridge is talking about that they placed plywood on. Imagine a bridge so expensive and had to go back and do the right thing. And these are only some of the things, Mr. Chairman, that we can show the people because there's many more. There is many more, and I will come back to the state of emergency. I go back to you, sir.
Thank you. You know, like I says, Greg and Leonard, who believe this guy when he talk, no, who understand this guy when he talk, right? So we back off, we head right. You say, why is this guy saying these things, right? That's a question that I ask, myself. Why is he saying these things? And sad enough that he's putting it out there for the world and publicly. And then you know damn well that it's not factual. It's a myth. It's lies. See? So with all these good things, why are we having problem with our schools, especially in the villages? Don't have teachers. Children have to carry them toilet paper. Children have to carry the soap. Children have to carry every sanitary thing to run them through the day. They're cleaning equipment for the schools. Children and parents have to find these things, right?
Mr.
Have
Chairman,
to find these things. But yet, go ahead, Leonard. Go
Mr.
ahead,
Chairman,
Leonard. Go ahead.
I know you're about to climax there on some of the things that you was pursuing, but I would just like to ask if you'd indulge me to go back to the original question that you asked. That is that where is the money going after all these projects are done and so much money is saved from it? 25 million US one place, 25 million Belizean one place. You know, money is being saved here, there, and everywhere. You know, where is the money going? Is the relevant question you pose. And I want
See?
the Belizean people to be informed of some of the facts. Not all, some of the facts. That is that some of that money could have been used and repurposed for other projects. Since they reduced the size of the bridge, they reduced the length of the road, the width of the road, the thickness of the material placed down on the road to make it last longer, so that it broke up quicker. The same thing happened at Coastal. They leave it at tar when they spread on top of the mud when they build up to raise the height of the area. Then spray it with a little bit of black tar. Then they put a little bit of stone on it. And then I spray a little bit more and I put a little bit more. And at the end of the day, those kind of built up asphalt road is not built for those big 2 and 3 level trucks, them big trucks where they run goods in at the truck there, and then kind of road there. Then road they build for cars and motorcycle and bicycle. So of course the thing they broke up quicker. Then they try to save money, and then they boast that then they save the money. But where the money go? That's the question again. And I'll tell you, the Senate settlement, so the man came to the House of Representatives and said, we have settled, in quotation now, remember that quotation mark statement? All accounts with Mr. Ashcroft for so many hundreds of millions of dollars. Where the multiple hundreds of millions of dollars came from? The answer is the same money when they had and pull from the teachers and the rest of the civil servants, then when they take on the 10%, when they save up their money if you give Mr. Ashcroft, for all outstanding balance of accounts dealing with the man. We never did produce those money just out of the blue and we just tell Central Bank, print some money and give Mr. Ashcroft. Those were the money that was taken out of our budgets, allocated for one purpose and repurposed for another purpose, like the bridge, the road, and all other activities, including the teachers and civil servants and salary, that was docked to 10%. As of today, they haven't been giving back that 10% yet, because that 10% supposed to have been a borrowed money, because the government was so hard up for funds back then that when things got good, as the Prime Minister is now claiming they have gotten so good, then should I give back the damn people and then 10% then? And then they get extra money from the US for another $250 million for education. Give the teacher then their money where they owe them. Give them a subvention for last year. Give them, I mean, there's so many different things that these guys are not doing. Where the money to go? Mr. Ashcroft and political campaign. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Mr. Brackett would need to get back on you,
Go right ahead, sir.
but you won't hear it from me. I think it's only right to hear it from a teacher. As you mentioned, all accounts, let's hear it.
In one way or the other.
I have one final question, Ms. Denise. In terms of now waiting on hearing what the government will or has to say, how long are you prepared to give them to answer?
I can't say I have a time. We will wait to hear the response of the minister, because we are going to highlight and try to get him to respond to his quote or his comment that he shared on Channel 5. We want clarity. We want clarity in terms of the 2021 and 2022 increment. He needs to clear that up. And I thank you very, very, very much for giving us this opportunity this morning to share this so that all our teachers are aware of this issue.
Of course.
2021 and 2022 increments we never decided to forego those increments. So where is the minister coming from when he says that all outstanding issues have been dealt with? And then he had the audacity to say that individual teachers who have not had their issue resolved, they should visit with us at the Ministry of Education so we can address it. He's asking for over 6,000 teachers to be at their office for their 2021 and 2022 increments.
That's a serious ask. And
Just crazy,
Mr. Chairman,
crazy on top of crazy.
back to you, sir.
Thank you, Greg. There you go again, another example of people, are getting tired, right? Over the weekend there were protests in Danriga Economical High School. Teachers from there were protesting, and it's so sad, guys. These are the same teachers, guys, that voted for Zabanino and the People's United Party. These are the same teachers, right? So in a way, I blame them, right? To
For
to be
yelling
a
and abetting the
part of,
rascals.
yes, to supporting these rascals and teachers. You're educated, very smart people. Why do you keep doing that? Why didn't you, before you gone to the polling station and voted for this man, right? Why didn't you protest what you're doing today? Why didn't you protest? Why didn't you stress your concern instead of voting for this same man that is doing this to you? The same PUP and past government that had done that to you, man. Why wait until after you're done and support them, give them all this power? And it's in only the control the people of Danriga, the power this man got, control the whole country. That's the thing. I didn't vote for that man. So why should I be subjecting to the carnage that they are doing? Right? And my thing is, plain and simple, is that, teachers are partly to blame, right, for what is happening, right? Little too late now for the protest, because the deal is already done. And so sadly, they think that they will have the next mandate for the next 5 years or 10 years because of, you hear the Briseno guy says that, they don't have any opposition, so they could do whatever they want as they please, right? There's this scholar was talking about he said the next thing, the GOB don't even give these schools funds to clean and maintain the schoolyard and classroom. Teachers have to do it all on their own. They promised us that they were going to give first and second farmers at Compre free education, and our kids were supposed to get free uniform and books. And when we went to register the kids, the teacher said it was all a lie. The government only said that to trick people. That's what this said. Cyril is saying. Said GOB got a cold heart towards the people. Imagine telling an outright lie like that, and the teacher had to face the parents and clear it up. Lie told by the Ministry of Education or the minister. But things that we have been talking about, guys, right? And yet, Greg, you just show and tell. And it's not the first time, Greg, right? And Leonard, it's not the first
Mr.
time,
Chairman,
right? Where
Mr.
is the free
Chairman,
education? I have said it all along. I call on the Fonseca guy, the Minister of Education, to come to the nation and explain to the nation what is free. You said it broadly. Words have meaning. You are the Minister of Education. You're well educated. Words have meaning. You tell the nation and the world that we have free education. What does that tell you? So I call on you, Mr. Man, to come to the nation because we are paying you, and we are asking you. You are getting the taxpayers' money. So please come to us and tell us what is free. Pencil free, book free, soap free, wash cleaning items free. Tell us what is free. Back to you, back to you, Greg. You wanted to.
Mr. Chairman, and rightfully said, sir, based on what you said, I want to go back again. And I want you to hear another tape, people at home and abroad, because this present government who claims that they raised the minimum wage to $5 in denial of stating that they raised the minimum wage from 3.30 to $5, which is $1.70,
That's empty sense.
think that they did something impressive. But let's hear what this lady had to say. The teacher just said what happened to the 2021, the 21-22 increment. Let's hear the lady.
Can you imagine living on a 2020 salary in 2024? Let me give you an example so you could really get the picture. In 2020, a 123 cooking oil, the middle size, was $3.75. Go buy that today, $6.50. I love eggs. A tray of egg was $6. Now I'm paying $9.50 with that same salary that's 3 years old. It's really difficult. And so we want this administration to hear our cries and try to see what they can do. It is rough. We're suffering silently.
There you go again, Mr. Chairman.
Back to you, back to you, Leonard. Back
Thank
to you,
you very much,
Leonard.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Greg, for showing those show and tell real life scenarios being played out. How can the government claim to be doing so good and does not have enough conscience and faith in the teachers and other civil servants to help them move forward and have a better life so many years after they got elected? While all of the elected officials, including the opposition by the way, are getting increments and or are getting higher salaries. Are they the only one that have to pay higher prices for goods, as the lady stipulated there in that tape just now? Everybody feel it out here. It's hard out here, like what the young man used to say a few years ago. You can't live off of one 2020 salary in 2024 because cost of living has already stripped your earning to half of what it used to be. But yet these jackals, hyenas, and vampires and vultures, they're there to keep the teachers their money or their salary, and the stevedores their money, what they don't earn and should have gotten many years ago. Then there to keep these people under duress by not providing for them, while they're providing for the people that they're bringing into the country under the IMO or IM whatever it is that they're bringing in people, and they're providing them lands, house lot. Some of them they get house. Some of them they get documentation for social security. Some of them they get medical treatment or for free in the districts where they live, compared to Belize where they get nothing for free. And the new identity is being fostered on us at our expense. The money that should be spending on us to try and better our situation is bettering somebody else's situation. That is that those other people will rise above us, pass us, survive while we die out. And why would they die out? Negligence, neglect, malfeasance on the part of governance, and a lack of adequate governance to look after the affairs of the people. But they don't have no problem looking after the affairs of other people. How tragic. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You know, like I say, we had talked about this when that story break in Mo tomorrow. But before that, I had talked about Greg and Leonard. I talked about the school fees that
I remember
a first grader have to pay, right? Where the money that this 5-year-old parents will have to pay to enroll that kid in school, right?
and all the other things that they have to
And
buy.
all the right.
And the long list of stuff.
So my thing is that, you know, how does these people sleep at night? When they know that they have the Belizean people, the poor and less fortunate, right? Because these are the people that we advocate for. Have these people in bondage, right? Poor and dependent. So now what they do now, they put that myth out there that free education. So now these parents who do not even have a job but have 3 and 4 kids, right? Don't have no income. So they set it up in a way that these same parents go to them and beg them, right? Beg them. So when these parents go and beg them now, they write out one note. I tell you how they do it, They write out one note and they say, hold I care it at the principal, care it at the school, right? So it's all about control, right? These things got to stop. So all I'm saying is that there should be a crime, right? Against that should be a crime for what these politicians constantly, and these past and present politicians constantly do to poor people, right? I'm just bringing these things out, because it's reality and it's truth, right? So we are advocating now for these poor people, for these poor parents that have this struggle to get their kids in school so that they learn to read and write and count, so that when they go work, they don't shortchange them, right? So that they live in society as regular as anyone else. These are what these parents have to go through, right? And then you have a government that is taking all the credit on that word free education, right? I would like an outside entity to come and investigate these people, Leonard and Gregory, right, and my Belizean people, and actually hold these people accountable, for the atrocities that they do. I call it atrocities because at the end, that is who punish? The children. The children punish in every which way. They go to school hungry. They do not have the proper equipment to equip them with knowledge, right? And some of them, they do not continue. They get lost in society. That's why we have this problem in our society. And none of them want to take responsibility, Greg and Leonard and my people. The PUP don't want to take responsibility for how they have our people. The UDP would never take, because these are the two mass party that has us where we are 2024, right? So they don't want, and they will never take responsibility. The only time they will take responsibility is when they are being dragged in front of a judge, a real judge that is not partisan, that will exercise the laws and the constitution of this country. That's the only time they will say sorry, right? Or be held accountable. Otherwise, there will be no other way, right? And it's so sad where we are in this country with our educational system, right? So, Greg, you want to?
Well said, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. And we have to look at the MCC grant that this country just got from the US. The Prime Minister spoke about putting some in energy and some in education. But we can see what is happening in more tomorrow. You want to put in education, but you cannot facilitate the teachers because you are underpaying them and you refuse to give them what is rightfully theirs in their increment. So how can we have quality education? And this is what will trickle down in the building of a tertiary hospital. You will have the structure, but you will not have the staff to run it because you are putting the wagon in front of the cart. And here we have him talking about Belizean engineers. Now imagine when you can look around at the structures and the work that these so-called Belizean engineers are doing. Look at the OSH bill for the safety of workers. How much man has fallen off scaffold, and they still have not proceeded to pass the bill. We are dealing with reality, Mr. Chairman, and I will drop a reality check tonight because for so long we have been saying on this platform about the unconstitutional state of emergency. For so long, my cousin and Friday is trying to educate the people about the Constitution and what their rights are. Because the present government who set out to say they want to teach the people about the Constitution in a phony, baloney way is just trying to use it to turn the Belizean people as sovereign citizens. But as I said, here is the reality check. Because I have called them out in the state of emergency more than once, and I told them the day will come when they will sue you for unlawful detainment
Detention.
and for trying to take away Section 20 of our Constitution which one can use for judicial review. And not
Section 18 and
only
19
that,
as well.
denying these young men Section 19 of our Constitution, which said if you pick anybody up under state of emergency, in 7 days, you must tell them what they are charged with. And in 30 days, they must go before a tribunal. They did not even have a tribunal from all the past and present state of emergency. They just came up with one not too long ago. But here's what happened, Mr. Chairman. One of the young men is suing them now for $250,000. And I will tell you what, he will win the case undoubtedly.
The state of emergency powers obviously are wide reaching powers, but they are not powers that are without safeguards, without fetters. The framers of the Constitution, in their abundant wisdom, ensured that while they would grant the state these wide powers, that they would also ensure that citizens were not subjected to arbitrary violation of their rights. And this is one such arbitrary violation of my client's rights. And so Mr. Ronley Petio, who is the client, and the applicant and the person who is instituting this claim would have been, we say, false imprisoned from July of this year until just a few days ago. The Constitution grants the state of emergency powers in Section 18, but the safeguards immediately follow in Section 19. All right? To ensure this type of arbitrary action does not take place and that there is some mechanism in place to allow for the powers of the state to be checked, and so to ensure that we don't fall in this exact circumstance where an innocent person who does not fall within the parameters that they declared the state of emergency is subjected to, again, false imprisonment and a breach of their constitutional right. I mean, liberty is one of the most important rights. I mean, hence why when you go array of the law, that is the right which is fettered, right? Yeah, they don't take away your right of freedom of expression or any other thing like that. They fetter your right to your freedom of liberty. It's that fundamental right. The state of emergency powers obviously are.
There you go, Mr. Chairman. $250,000. We have said it. We knew it would come sometime or the other because it's unconstitutional. And we asked, I had asked, and I couldn't find it. I could not find the SOE. It don't even look as though they had published it. And you know why I was looking for it? Because I wanted the people at home and abroad to understand. When the commissioner of police got on the news station and said, if the court gives any of these young men bail, he will re-arrest them right away and lock them up. You would not have found that nowhere in that state of emergency inside that SOE. And that is why we are where we are now today. And I hope all the rest of these young men, the one they pointed the gun in the face, the young lady they pushed, all of them come forward and start suing the government. I said it, and I will say it now again. Did I use the word human trafficking? No, we see where it's at. I go back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg, because like you said, we have been talking about this. See, we talk about it. Go ahead, Leonard. Go ahead, Leonard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
We knew what
Yes,
was going to happen.
as you said, we have been talking about this, pointing out these errors, omissions, and oversights, and egregious bastardization of our Constitution, as well as outright contemptuous, and I would dare to say criminal contemptuousness on the part of these jackals. Because it's not that they don't know, it's because they just feel like do what they want to do, and they're not the ones suffering or being hurt, so they don't feel the pain that they're inflicting on innocent people that don't deserve to be treated that kind of way after those people have given them the power of governance. But I'll go another step further, and I'll say the very Constitution to which they swore fidelity tells them that anybody in the country is free and has a right to belong to any association they so choose, whether it's a large association, whether it's a gang association, as being a gang, for example, on the waterfront, dealing with the loading and unloading of ships, or whether it be a gang, as these idiots are trying to stipulate that by virtue of belonging to a gang, that means that you're a criminal, even if you haven't committed an offense against the laws or the criminal codes per se, that they can classify you as a criminal by virtue of belonging to any such group, when the Constitution says you're at liberty to belong to whatever group or gang you wish to. And the government have no rights or authority to violate that. They have no rights to create bogus laws, such as substantive laws that they go to the House and create, to violate people's constitutional right and the Constitution itself. It says that they're not supposed to do these things, yet they go ahead and do it. And then they got the police
Mr.
commissioner.
Brackett,
1 second, Greg. I just want to
Hold
close
on,
this
Greg.
part out.
I
Yes,
want to ask you a question.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Was I not saying back by you what makes the state of emergency unconstitutional was because under the emergency powers like COVID, which was nationwide, it had nothing that you had to violate
Exactly.
to get charged.
That's the
You
reason why
remember I said
you
it?
wanted to research yourself to see what was the clauses in there that determine what violations they were interested in picking up people for.
Exactly.
But they went ahead and picked up people under the idea that they had instituted rules and laws and substantive laws that violated the Constitution and people's constitutional right, which they were not empowered to do. But they went ahead and did anyhow, which makes those laws, as the Constitution will classify them, null and void and violative of the Constitution. So the bottom line is that not only did we not have any war or any major catastrophe, which are the only reasons when the Constitution allows the government to be able to issue a state of emergency to deal with those emergencies. It doesn't say that the state can classify a group of people that belong to a gang, or 2 or 3 or 4 gangs that maybe have a beef among themselves, that the state can classify them or classify that kind of activity as being or as bearing the burden of proof to justify a state of emergency, which covers everybody in that area wherever that state of emergency is instituted. The bottom line is that these guys are not doing their police work, and they're turning around and using this state of emergency as a way to beat down on certain part of the society, the black community specifically, because I don't see them putting any state of emergency in Orange Walk where the gun warfare is going on, and where all the drug is being peddled, and all the killing is going on. Where is the state of emergency in Orange Walk where the Prime Minister's constituency is? He will not put a state of emergency over his constituents, but he's ready and willing to do it over the black people in Southside Belize. That tells you a lot about the man's personal character and his personal profile. to which I've said over and over again, all of them have a personal profile. The things that they do, the things that they don't do, the things that they say, the things they don't say, you know, it's all recorded. But going back to the point of the SOE, they cannot declare an SOE unless they can validate and prove to the court that that SOE is a valid SOE. But they go ahead and declare themselves an SOE and get it assented to by the Deputy Governor General, and then turn around and say, okay, well, it was assented to, therefore it must be legal or constitutional. It is not. If it violates the Constitution, if it's violative of the Constitution, it's a violation of the Constitution. And every violation of the Constitution is not, no care how many of them put together to make that law, it is not a constitutional law. Nothing that violates the Constitution is constitutionally valid. The supreme law of the land is not the law that they made. It's the Constitution. And if they are going to make a law to violate the Constitution, it means that they are in transgression of the Constitution itself. They themselves ought to be held accountable for breaches of the Constitution. But who holds them accountable? Which government you see persecutes its ministers for violating the Constitution? Or the police commissioner for violating the Constitution? The man is so audacious to the point where he will turn around and said, even as a lawyer himself, besides being commissioner, he's a lawyer, an officer of the court. He won't be so audacious and so stupid to make a comment which should not have, even if he thought that idea in his head, he should not have uttered those words. That if the judge give a person his freedom, give them bail, and allow them to go back to the streets, that he will arrest them. He said the word rearrest, but that does not constitute a rearrest. Once a judge disposes of a case in whatever manner the judge pleases, no lawyer or policeman or head of police or head of the police ministry as minister, or even the prime minister, have the authority to go beyond a judge's call. The only person that can do that is the Governor General. And that Governor General, whether it's a he or she, can only do that after a specific committee that they are in charge of makes a ruling and tell them that yes, it is all right for them to go ahead and do. They have the power, but they cannot exercise those powers willy-nilly. So how come this jackal of a commissioner that we have is going to stipulate in public that if the court gives these people bail, he will go ahead and rearrest them? And then he didn't only just stipulate it, he went ahead and did just exactly that. Where the hell does he come off getting any power beyond that of a court or a judge? So he rearrests somebody, and that person is turning around now and suing the government, which is us, for $250,000, and he will prevail. More likely than not. Because the laws are the laws. And these idiots that are running over
Mr. Brackett,
go ahead,
I will tell you what they will do. I believe that they will settle this out of court,
for a little less.
not to have a precedent.
Exactly. 100% correct, Greg.
Huh?
100% correct.
You know what I'm saying,
like
right?
all other cases that they have gone, that they have dealt with Mr. Ashcroft and everybody else, including Mr. Feinstein. They have settled with Mr. Feinstein out of weak offers again. They're not selling enough for the assets to pay that bill. We, the Belizean people, will have to come up with extra taxes.
Right.
Okay?
Mr. Chairman, if they take this to court and they lose, it will set a precedent, and everybody else who was illegally whole will sue them. So the only way around it is to settle out of court, not to have a precedent ruling. Because automatically if it goes to trial and they lose, any and everybody that was poor unconstitutionally can sue them. And I want to say this also. Our constitution is the supreme law of the land. And when these young men or anyone commit a crime, go spend their time and come back in public, they should have equal protection of the
the law.
law as any other individual.
In addition
Period.
to that, Greg, in addition to that, Greg, how dare the police commissioner, again, an idiot as I would call him, because only an idiot who is supposed to be a sophisticated enough person to become commissioner of police, first of all, and or a lawyer on top of all of that, only an idiot will behave the way these guys behave. Allow power to go to their head to the point where they feel like Belize has actually become and or is a dictatorial republic. That is to say,
Authoritarian rule.
yeah, that is to say, he went to the prison to visit some of these young men that he have in the prison facility under a bogus SOE that got extended by the House of Representatives, who were all a bunch of ignoramus fools who didn't know what the hell they were voting on in the first place, and just facilitated voting yes to get that stuff extended, when in fact they were extending something that was illegal and unconstitutional in the first place because it wasn't correctly put in place and it didn't meet the requirements of the threshold, which was another bar that they didn't meet. But how dare the commissioner go to these young men, threaten them that if they don't want to be arrested again and be put in jail
Let's make
for
a deal.
extended time, they got to make a deal with him and give up their guns and or behave themselves. He has no right to do that. He has no authority to do that. He's misusing his office, abusing the power vested in the authority of policing or of the police department. As a matter of fact, the whole damn prison system is messed up, screwed up, and it's playing games that they ought not to be playing. For example, they don't want lawyers who are members of the bar and who are supposed to be allowed the courtesy visiting their client while they're in jail. They don't want to facilitate that. They don't have that authority to stop people from getting a lawyer and to talk to their lawyer, and from stopping any lawyer to go there and visit these people. They have no authority. The court have the authority to stop a lawyer from going there, but not these jackals and hyenas who are working and operating on behalf of political people. The warden of that of that prison is under the jurisdiction of the court. Section 20 of our Constitution. Yes, they may be paid through the Prime Minister's Office of Ministry of Finance, but that doesn't make it be that they're working for the Prime Minister. As all other payment that goes to the Ministry of Finance goes to the different government departments.
One more minute there, Leonard, and wrap up because
Go
for your
ahead,
closing.
I'll
One
wrap
more.
up
Let's take another minute for your closing there.
I'll do my closing then. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that our system of governance currently being practiced is a bastardized system of governance. A lot of the crazy stuff that our ministers and the different ministries are carrying out and or carrying on with does not cut the muster or does not meet compliance of what is required of these individuals and these ministry and ministers. They keep bastardizing our constitution and our governance affairs and practices. The protocol, the process, the procedures, the practices, it's not like it used to be, or it's not as it ought to be. But these jackals and hyenas don't care. All they do is just whatever comes to their mind, they're gonna do, and to hell with it. I
Thank you.
wish that some of these people could be sued personally for malfeasance, for their shortcoming. I wish that some of these people who were, like for example, the police commissioner, had taken and put in jail because they're doing it on behalf of the government, and therefore, if you sue them, you're basically suing the government. At least that's the pretext that they will use, and therefore you got to go to the attorney general and sue the attorney general in order to get to those malpractices. The bottom line is that some of those individuals should bear some of the cost and the burden for their malfeasance, their misrepresentation, and their malpractice.
Amen to that.
I hope that this organization coming up will put some teeth behind the Constitution and go after some of these people personally. I yield back,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman. Thank you for the
Thank you, Leonard, for calling a spade a spade. Greg, you want to take a minute, then I will take the other minute.
I yield to you, Mr. Chairman. Go ahead.
Thank you, Greg. Well said, and I just hope that people both at home and abroad see the things that we advocate for and see the things that we talk about, right? And to see that how the system bastardize us, both our constitution and us and the taxpayers, with no accountability. And I leave you people with this. The deputy prime minister said that we have a lot of money. This government, we're not broke. The other side say we broke. We're not broke. Right? So teachers, hold a man accountable, You shouldn't own, right? So all I'm saying is that hold these people accountable, and I call on the rest that will follow suit on that clip that you played there, Greg. I call on them to seek justice, right, and follow suit. The government will have to settle because what they did to UNO is wrong, and wrong, right? And like you says, Greg, they will settle the same way they settle with Ashcroft and Feinstein, like you said, Leonard, and Olive. They will settle with you because they are wrong, right? And on that note, it's always a pleasure.
Mr. Chairman, the problem is that they will settle, but they will settle out of we pocket. Okay, that's the problem. If they settle and they bear some of the costs for the court costs,
exactly.
or they bear some of the costs for the settlement or whatever, you say,
that would be a good thing, Leonard.
Right?
That would have been a good thing, but those suckers are not going to do that, right? They fight us with our own money. They fight the taxpayers with our own money. That's what they do, right? To gain mileage. So I call on the nation. These are the little things that we talk about. Support the Belizean justice movement in the next election, and we will fix these problems. We will fix these problems because it is a problem, and we cannot go on living like this. Something has to happen to support this new entity, this new system, the Belizean justice movement in the next general election. And you will have the change that you want. And we will hold them accountable for all the wrongs that they have done. Right? We'll hold them accountable. Right? On that note, I want to thank our viewers, both at home and abroad. It's always a pleasure, our supporters. It's always a pleasure, Greg, to sit in your company. Leonard, it's always a pleasure because we speak truth and we are advocate for our people and nation. I wish the government would do that. And others. Greg, I want to take it away and say good night.